right, welcome to our 2025 Texas League wrap up. All the games are played, all the final scores are tabulated, and a champion has been crowned. So, as we always like to start, Jared, what is our kickoff question this week?
Oh, simple question. What is your thoughts on people who go into the finals and decide before the finals they're going to split the money? For example, I heard a story about two people who went into the finals. There was $1,000 pot, and they decided I don't know what the actual payout was,
Hmm.
but they just decided, regardless of who, like the winner was going to get a certain amount, the loser was going to get a certain amount, regardless of who won and who lost. They just they might have just went 50-50, but I think they just said, okay, that way they both get some money. It must have been winner take all. In a
I'm not.
situation where it's winner takes all, you split it just like regardless of who wins, you still get some money versus not getting anything in a situation where there is no money for second place.
So, number one, I didn't realize that there are a lot of leagues that do that. So all the leagues that I'm currently in now for the last few years have gone to a scenario where first, second, third place all get something. Um, but I have heard that. Matter of fact, a guy I go to church with, he is also in a high dollar league, and the commissioner reached out to them and asked them the same question. They declined. Essentially, they both would have received 750 instead of the champion receiving 1,000 and the second place person getting 500. So if you're the person if you're 100% certain that you're gonna win the game,
Yeah,
I feel less inclined to go for the split. But
yeah.
I think if you're nervous about where you're gonna finish, then you may opt for it. But for me, if this scenario actually came up in real life, I would not be the person to answer the question first. I would defer to my opponent and try to get into their head a little bit to see. Because if they say split, I know that they think their team is weak, and I would be more inclined to be like, nah. No matter what, I take my lumps. But the fact of the matter is, fantasy championships aren't just about the money. They're about the bragging rights and the ability to say, I am champion. So
Yeah.
I saw on Rich Eisen, he had singer Michael Bublé on his show a few
I
weeks
know you're
ago.
going. I saw this.
And
I saw
he
this as
and
well. Where
he
he said he'd
said
give up the Grammy.
he
Was it a
said
Grammy?
even though he's won that particular one of his leagues a couple of times, that he would give up all his Grammys to win he would always choose, if I had to choose between winning all my Grammys or winning my fantasy league, I'd choose winning my fantasy league. So it is a
Yeah.
sense of pride.
'Cause
So
I,
I
I
get
think he
that.
said I thought he said that was the one league that he's in that he hasn't won. That's why he would give up the Grammys for that
Right.
one.
So yes, I think he said the league that he's in might be the one he hasn't won yet, even though he's won other leagues. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's real. If you're serious about the thrill of victory, yeah, you wouldn't mind splitting the money because you know that you're not going to split the title of champion. So I get it.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Right.
Like I grasp the concept, but
Hmm.
I'm too competitive
Yeah.
to too
Well,
competitive. Like I understand why people do it, especially if there's a large discrepancy between the two.
right.
Cause like I know a guy who's in the league, 12 man, uh second place gets their $100 entry fee back.
Hmm.
The other 1100 goes to the winner. So in a league like that, I can understand why you might try to negotiate your way into something like, hey, got 1200 up here. I'll take, we ain't got to play. I'll take five. We can split it if you think, if you're going, because you're gonna make a kill. I'm not gonna say make a killing, but you could, you risk only getting $100 if you decide to split it up front and just don't worry about the
Yeah,
what
and I'm
happens.
not.
And you get, but nah, I'm too
I'm too
competitive.
competitive for that. So, uh, all right. So, with that being said, we are happy to announce and very proud to announce that our co-host has won the 2025 Texas League Championship. And as we have extended to the past two champions the opportunity to come on the podcast and give a victory speech of sorts, we shall now extend that opportunity to this year's champion in that great tradition. So I'm gonna mute myself so that I don't interrupt you because I have a feeling if I don't mute myself, I may interject. So let me mute myself
Oh,
and
I
give
know.
you the floor, my friend.
Oh, I know you're gonna interject. Let me share my screen because I'm gonna take this right, and I'm gonna be a little petty. I'm going to say that up front. Sometimes you just have to be that guy and just be a little petty, and it's because I don't, I just think that that is the least that my co-host would expect from me. One of them was unable to join us tonight. He's working on some academic endeavors, and it's all about the academics.
Shout out to Dr. Deuce.
Exactly. Can't be mad at it. Like I couldn't be I couldn't be fully petty, but it's okay. Well,
Well, don't leave us in suspense. Share away, my friend.
see, is this gonna work?
Oh my gosh.
I'm
You
just
switched away from your
oh,
message.
oh, he's not
There it is.
there. Sometimes you just have to be that guy, and I'm gonna be that guy today.
Fair enough.
Just sometimes you just have to be that guy. But
So are you going to read it or is it just for, I mean, you have to read the statement. Like you took the time to write it, you might as well read it.
that's enough. I just want the music to play, let it be known that the champ is here.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and for those, some people might play this and let it run. I'll read it for those who. All right,
Well,
before.
so the challenge is when you hit share, you fail to share the audio from your screen, my friend.
Uh,
So please, but please tell us what the song was so that
uh,
we can at least imagine it.
I thought I wasn't sure if it was share. It was the Will Smith, the champ is here that he did in the movie Ali.
Nice. Apropos. Very nice.
It's got to.
Very, very nice.
But I'll go ahead and read it. All right, before we move on to the 2026 season, I just want to say a few things. Number one, Akeem, my first cousin, love him like a brother. Congrats on the first pick. Unfortunately for you, it won't matter because I fully plan on being right back here next year.
Mm, 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 mm.
Chris, 22 is officially forgiven, not forgotten. Avenged, shall you say. I appreciate you helping me get closer this season. And Marcel, I've got my eye on going back to back in 2023. I feel I have my eye on going back to back in 2023 is still fresh in my memory. Just as a reminder for those who forgot, Chris beat me in 2022 in the finals. Marcel beat me in 2023. I've revenged one. I still got to avenge the other one. Marcel, consider this your warning. I'm coming for you this season. To my co-hosts, Dwayne and Deuce, championships are the goal. Just let me know if you want some pointers on how to get one in this league, because I've got experience and I'll be willing to share it with you, gentlemen. To the rest of the league, thanks for the competition and the yearly donation to the payout, and I'll see you next season.
Appropriately petty, my good brother.
Sometimes you just have to, like I
Uh,
said, it was going to be more petty had I got that video, but sometimes
uh,
you just have to just do it. So I made
No,
this
no,
earlier at work.
number three is especially a little bit painful considering the fact that I was in the playoffs this year, but
No,
you know,
you know,
my team chose to not show up for the first round of the playoffs and then appropriately show up in rounds two and three for me to get a fifth place finish. So awesome for me for that one, but
You
It
know,
is what it
the
is.
thing is this: if my memory serves me correctly, last year Deuce won the picks, and this year you won the picks, if I'm not mistaken. But that's okay.
Yes.
I got the championships where the money come. So y'all can keep them. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this money. I need to win next year when the payout goes up. But you know what? We gotta.
All right. So speaking of, you alluded to something in the beginning of your statement regarding your cousin, the fact that he has the first place pick, for number one pick for next year's draft. So as you know, with our picks, six through one, it's not how they finish in the consolation bracket. It's randomized. That was something new that we did. Well, that was something we started last year and we continued this
Yeah.
year. So, but everyone remembers that we get two grades at the beginning of our season. We get a Yahoo grade, as well as we participate in the Going for Two podcast, where they do a review of our team's post draft and then they give us their opinion. So I want to take a look back and see how did our teams finish in the league in relation to those things. So, we're gonna start at number one. So we're gonna start with Muff Divers with the Yahoo grade. Had an A minus. He was ranked number two in the going for two, and unfortunately, just through the injuries, especially to Lamar Jackson, unfortunately missed the playoffs. Uh, Rogers' last ride. I mean, really to me, because we talked about some of the bad luck he's had in the past. He got a very bad grade from Yahoo, and I remember agreeing with that grade on his draft. But hey, he made it farther in the playoffs than I did, and he was liked by going for two, and he came in fourth place. Now, unfortunately for a couple of teams like the Big Green and Mathis King, their Yahoo grade and their going for two ranking were in sync and they did miss the playoffs. Um, our previous year champ, we'll call him the 2024 champ at this point, got an A plus from Yahoo, at a mid grade from going for two, and did unfortunately miss the playoffs. So now let's take a look at the other teams that did make the playoffs. So Ed Corn, who again is our 2023 champion, got a mid grade from Yahoo, but his team was picked number one overall by the Going for Two podcast. Now he did make the playoffs. He actually ended up in the playoffs in the number five spot. Uh, no, I'm sorry. The number was the number five. Either way, he ended up making the playoffs on the last week of the season. He went on a little run at the end of the season to get into the playoffs, but much like my team, did not do very well in the first round. So going for two didn't really like my team that much. But I will say this. I'm not gonna say they didn't like the team. They did admit that like teams 10 through 4, something like that, had a very small range of final grade. So a lot of those teams could have been ranked. Yahoo liked my draft. I like my draft. I just had some bad luck. I had some weeks where my teams just didn't show up. I think I lost one game by about 3 points one week. I had a couple of lineup things that I could have done, but my playoff loss, there was nothing I could have done. The team just didn't perform. But it did feel good to get back into the playoffs, and I ended up winning the 5-6 game. So at least I ended on a high note. Now, I'll let you do the last four teams as the champion to compare their rankings and their final positions.
Oh, company man. I would just like to say I would like to thank Company Man for not accepting my trade because I tried to trade him Puka Nakua. I think I tried to give him Puka Nakua and a draft pick for Jameer Gibbs, and Puka Nakua helped my team win the playoffs. So I think that was a blessing in disguise. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Going for two gave ranked him 10th. Yahoo gave him a C minus. We'll say, average. Missed the playoffs. I looking at his team, I thought that 10 was a little lower. I thought should be mid. I thought he should be middle of the pack, but no. Like most people, he has some injuries and some players that didn't really come through for him, and so it's just fantasy. Two boobs, two balls, one goal. Yahoo gave him a D. Going for two ranked him eighth. Oh, did they
No,
rank him
no, no, they
fourth?
gave them fourth. Yeah,
They ranked him fourth. Let me read that correctly. And then he got third place. I'm going to say that his team, it comes and goes with Josh Allen. Josh Allen did not perform as well as he would have hoped. And
yep,
so that actually, it was just 1 week he didn't perform super great. He did just enough for them to get the third place win with that last touchdown.
yep.
You know, it is what it is.
And what about your championship opponent?
You know, Mr. Kirkwood, they gave Yahoo gave him a C plus, which I don't know. Any team with Christian McCaffrey, I figure we get more than a C plus, but whatever. They ranked him sixth, and his team came and went with Christian McCaffrey. And if Christian McCaffrey didn't perform super well, the team kind of slacked off, and Christian McCaffrey didn't perform real well in that finals week, and I was able to pull out a victory. But it is what it is. It's fantasy, and like I said, we all know the story of how he got Christian McCaffrey.
Still one of my favorite draft moments.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to our next reset so we can do another live draft and see what happens to Chris that time.
we'll have to figure it out. We're gonna have to, the party bus discussion was going to Phoenix go to go to our other co-house. We'll see.
Hey, that's the way I remember it, is that this next
Yeah,
reset's going to be in
we
Phoenix. But
we're going to see if that we want to see how that works. See if that's still the plan. Because I believe Company Man said he got family out there, so he's down to go. And
I do too.
um,
I have family in Phoenix.
I thought Chris said his brother was in Phoenix. There's some people with some family out that
Yeah.
way, so I think a lot of people will be
But let's
liable.
take but let's but what about you?
Uh, Simply put, Yahoo gave me a D minus, which I think was due to the fact that I drafted numerous rookies who all seemed to get hurt, but that's okay. Going for two ranked me eight, like you said earlier. A lot of the teams right in that, I think they said it was like 4 to 10, like you said, all the teams in
Mhm.
that were real close. So I'm like, as long as I'm not 12, I'll take it.
Right.
And then Puka Nakua decided, you know, he decided he wanted to get hot right around week 14, that last week when I had to get in. I'm like, I told my team, I'm like, I need to get in. I can't let Dwayne keep me out.
Well,
Dwayne can get,
you weren't gonna be out. You just wouldn't have had the bye week. Had I won that last matchup of the
yeah,
regular season, you still would have been in the playoffs. We just would have flip-flopped. I would have
you
gotten the
know,
bye. You would have been in slot five.
yeah, it's the principalities of the situation. My team, my team said we got to get it. So, Drake May and Puka Nakua said, "We got you, coach. We gonna get this championship." And so they got me there.
And they appropriately did. Very, very, very good. All right. So, who would you say, not necessarily just for your team, just from a fantasy season overall, who do you think was the fantasy dud of the year, and who would you say was the fantasy stud of the year?
Uh, Fantasy stood just, I think Drake May would be. I think Drake May should win MVP of the NFL. I'll start there. He was also my quarterback this year, and I think he actually had a pretty damn good season. Because like you expect Josh Allen to be a good fantasy player. You expect CMC when healthy to be a good fantasy player. I don't think a lot of people were expecting Drake May to be that guy this year.
Yeah.
And, dud of the I don't know if I don't want to call this guy a dud, but I expected more from Saquon Barkley. Like I guess
No,
coming
no.
off that 2,000-yard season, I expected more
Oh,
from
oh,
him.
as a person,
Yeah.
As the Saquon owner for our league, I can agree with that. So
I was
I would say that he would be in the running for not having the best season
yeah, like
from a fantasy standpoint.
I
I mean,
expected more from him.
yeah, definitely. But that is also on the Eagles coaching staff who still don't seem to know how to use. their best assets at the time. Yeah, I like the Drake May pick. I'm gonna say my fantasy stud of the year was JXN.
Yeah, I can see that.
So Sam Darnold continues his serviceability as a starter. I mean, Seahawks have the number one overall uh, in the playoffs, so definitely shows what a good quarterback can do for you. But then that takes me directly to my fantasy dud of the year. Again, not that he's not a great player, taking nothing away from him, and he was handicapped by the quarterback situation all season. But Justin Jefferson, from a fantasy standpoint, had an extremely disappointing season. Which I'm
He
sure,
did.
a player of his caliber also, the fact of the matter is when you look at it from their standpoint, they're professionals. No matter who the quarterback is, my job is to go out and produce. So I would suspect that an off season with the healthy JJ McCarthy will get them on the same page, and we'll see Justin Jefferson that because the Vikings have too many offensive weapons for that offense to not look as good as we've seen it look in the past with that same group. But McCarthy spent most of his rookie year injured, a lot of this season injured. So if he can get himself together and they have a full offseason together, I suspect that the Vikings will be able to do some things and Justin Jefferson bounces back next year. So in that sense, right, not necessarily a veteran like Justin Jefferson, but who is your way too early pick to say they might have a big breakout year next year from a fantasy standpoint?
Um, ju- I'm gonna. I I know who I want to say, but they just lost their coach, so I would. You know who? No, actually, I know who I'm gonna say. Shocking. Tyler Shook from the Saints.
Hmm.
Because once they turned it over to him, he was sneaky good.
Right,
He wasn't great. Like if if somebody tells me he finishes as a top 12 quarterback next year, I'm not shocked. I don't think he's gonna go out here and just light it up and be Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or somebody like that that's known to put up 20, 30, 40 points a week. But
right,
I think he could be that solid quarterback that you put on your team and he gets you a solid 18 to 20 points every week. And he just, he's good for about 250 and two. Because I think he didn't start the season as the Saints starter.
right.
Once they gave it to him, he wasn't actually bad.
I think he had something like 12 or 13 passing touchdowns, five or six picks, a couple of rushing touchdowns. So, like you said,
Yeah.
he showed the range of what he can do. Um, so I'm gonna call it a tie for I'm gonna say two people that I'll say were probably the two highest expected running backs coming into this draft, Cam Scatterboo and Ashton Genty. Both of them so Ashton Genty, we had a inept offensive line coach and bad play calling, but he still had almost 1,300 yards from scrimmage, had multiple 50 plus yard touchdown runs, 70 plus yard touchdown reception, right? So we got some things to fix in the Raiders but he's a weapon that'll be there. And good old CTE Scatterboo, he just runs,
He's
he's
Scatterboo.
ready to run through everything. So yeah, I can see him and his season ended prematurely due to injury. So yeah, you're gonna have potentially a healthy Neighbors, healthy Scatterboo. Giants projected to pick a wide receiver in the first round to give Neighbors somebody on the other side of the field. So the Giants, with that Giants offense, if they can soften up and keep the defense honest on the passing game and give Scatterboo room to run, I could see them both having some pretty big seasons next year. But all right. So last question I have this year is the NFL playoffs. So we're going to ask both of them, even though this is a fantasy team. So NFL playoff question. You don't have to go through all the picks, but who do you project as your Super Bowl champion this year?
Oh, I am going. I think it is the situation is promising for the Buffalo Bills to
Hmm.
win the championship. There is no Mahomes, there's no Burrow, there's no Lamar Jackson.
I mean, good, right.
Like, you know, you there are some teams that can beat them. Buffalo cannot win in Houston. So if the matchups fall where they don't have to come to Houston, things looking good for them.
Right.
You know, I think
Who does Houston have this weekend?
they got to go play in Pittsburgh. That's a game they can win.
That's right. Yeah. And that's a game I certainly hope they win. Doggone it, Ravens kicker. Right now, he could be, Aaron Rodgers should be off into the sunset,
No, no.
sipping
He
peyote and sitting in the dark room. You know what I'm saying?
but everybody blaming the kicker. Why is no one blaming the defense for allowing 23 points in the second half?
Oh, I'm absolutely blaming the defense. But when we
Oh,
come down to when
the
we come down
kicker
to the
also
very
needs some
last,
blame.
when we come down to the very, but the fact of the matter is, the kicker could have erased all of that. He definitely could have erased all that. So I do think that the Bills, but the Wisconsin native in me says that I am pulling for the Packers. It's improbable. And the first thing they have to do is go on the road in Chicago, who has been playing very well. So we'll see how they look after this first playoff game if they can get past Chicago. If they hope that the week off from the starters resting gave them some time to heal up a little bit. But I am pulling for my Packers. So go Pack, go for the playoffs. And so then the second question is the college football playoff semifinals are this weekend. Who do you think is going to take home the 2026 college football championship?
Uh, I believe that actually I believe Miami gets it because I don't with Ole Miss coaches going to LSU and some of them coaching, some of them not. I think there's some. I don't think that they now. I think it's going to be a competitive game between them and Miami tomorrow night, but I think Miami gets that W. And then I believe that Indiana is a team of destiny this year, but I don't think that that team of destiny can compete with those athletes. Whoever comes out of that other game has more athletes than Indiana. He got them playing well, and they're going to play a hell of a. They can beat Oregon. I think they can beat Oregon.
They have beat Oregon this year.
That too. They beat Oregon this year, and Oregon is already down multiple players. Couple. I think one went to the portal, one got hurt.
Hmm.
So I said I think Indiana can beat them, but I don't believe Indiana has the athletes to hang with Ole Miss or Miami, and I think Miami wins that game. So whoever wins tomorrow night is who I. That's who I'm gonna pick as my national champion. I think Miami wins tomorrow night, so I'm gonna say Miami is the national champion.
I believe that Indiana's going to win because Ole Miss is going to upset Miami. I think that beating Georgia, which a lot of people saw as a, I'm not going to say impossible task, I would say improbable. That Ole Miss, even though when they played earlier this season, Ole Miss did very well against them. People were going to say there's no way Georgia's going to allow them to be in this game like they did in the regular season. And Ole Miss came out and played their butts off. So I think that Miami is feeling themselves. I think that they feel like they're the team of destiny as well. That the U is back, blah blah blah, right? And when you feel like that, I think sometimes it sets you up for a big letdown because despite what Michael Irvin would have you believe with his antics on the sideline, you beat one team barely 10-3, right? Your offense has been stagnant because again, you won by 10 points. Seven of those 10 points were a pick six. So it's not like your offense is blowing teams out or you're not doing a whole lot on the offensive side of the ball. And again, and let's just remember who's at quarterback, right? We've seen this before. We've seen him
Yeah.
fail in these situations before. And I think that Ole Miss has the staff has been around, no matter who's there, they've got enough film on that quarterback to know how to get to him. And they also have the athletes. Again, this is the SEC. So you might
Yeah.
not know their names the way that you know, but they also have they also have a quarterback that is steady and he's not prone to make the mistakes that the other quarterbacks that Miami's faced in the first two rounds make. So I'm actually picking Ole Miss for the upset. Indiana gets the win, and I'm taking Indiana to win their first football championship.
Hey, if they win that championship, I have a feeling that if they win that championship, I got a feeling that the Raiders call him and say, "Hey, we need you to come be our coach. We're gonna draft your quarterback. Come on."
Nah, we'll have a coach by today's Wednesday. We'll have a coach by Sunday.
And who do you believe that coach is?
Oh, well, let me not say that we're gonna have a coach by Sunday. Um, it's either gonna be Harbaugh, who was just let go from Baltimore, or I'm blanking on his name, the Seahawks offensive coordinator. Hold on.
Kubiak?
Yeah, I think those would be my two top candidates for the job. Even though Stefanski has publicly announced his desire to actually come to Las Vegas. So I can't count him out because he's actually come out and said, listen, I'll take a pay cut. I want to go and restore the Raiders. And despite his issues with the way he left Cleveland, he has been a proven coach in the NFL. Like you can't two-time coach of the year,
Oh,
that's not a knock, right? That's not an
uh,
accident. So,
I don't think Harbaugh goes to Las Vegas. Well, I'm gonna ask this question. Suppo- I got a text message from a Buccaneers insider who said we reached out to John Harbaugh's agent,
mhm,
and he was open to coming to Tampa, but we had to fire our GM.
yeah,
Do you think the Raiders are willing to fire their GM and bring in a GM of his choosing?
no. For the simple fact that the move they just made was to retain the GM. But it could be that he didn't like that GM. It's not that he doesn't like any GM. He could just be referring that he doesn't get along with the Buccaneers GM. Because despite his long stance in the NFL, he has never had the Belichick treatment where he's been GM and head coach or had that kind of uh, quote unquote veto power. And it's not probably going to be put in his hands coming off getting fired. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and not many, I believe that only two of the actual head coach openings also have GM openings to where they fired both coach and GM. I have to go back and double check, but I think the majority of them
Hmm.
have retained their GM.
I know the Falcons fired their GM.
Yeah,
They cleaned house.
yeah,
The For some reason the Jets, not the Jets, the Giants kept their GM. He's made some questionable calls.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So if I mean, but the other part of it is, you know, when you're in this situation, when you know you're wanted, if you don't get the situation that you want exactly, you can take a year off because it's the NFL. Somebody's gonna get fired next year. So if he
Or
doesn't,
or you do like the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars last year interviewed our offensive coordinator. He
uh,
declined. He declined, and they asked him what was wrong. He said, "I don't like the GM. I want a new GM." And they said, "All right." Fired the GM, and he snuck away in the night. He came back to
I remember
Tampa.
that. Didn't he get an extension or a raise offer
Yeah,
to stay,
he
and then he
agreed in
still left?
he agreed in principle to a raise, and like if I from what I read, he was supposed to be like the assistant head coach. He was kind of like the coach in waiting.
Yeah.
Then the Jaguars said, "We'll fire the GM if you come back. He snuck away, literally agreed in principle to come, couldn't find him to sign it to make it official. He down in Jacksonville signed to become
Uh
the head coach.
he pulled a Belichick in in New York.
Yeah, so if the Jaguars lose their first round game, I can't say that I would be upset about that because I'm not mad about the man going to get a new job. Hey, just be honest and say, you know what, let me go back to Jacksonville and take one more. I would respect you more if you're just honest.
Yeah, it's just funny when coaches get passes that players don't, situations and scenarios, So most coaches don't get the scrutiny of the business side that that many people get that play on the field. So there's no loyalty, blah blah blah. But all right, well that ends the 2025 fantasy season. Of course, we have the college football season coming up. We have the Combine, Senior Bowl, Pro Days, and the draft. So as you are tracking and keeping your eye on things throughout the year, just remember that the road to the 2026 championship starts now. And in the Texas League, that road goes through Team Fight Me Back. Since this man never keeps the same team name more than a year, who
You
knows what it'll be next
you
year?
know what? I changed my team name in memoriam of a football coach who passed. Now I can't say that I won't go back to my original name. I might keep it. It's January. We'll see what happens between now and August.
But either way, it goes through the commissioner's office next season. So
You know,
our mission to take him out, the other 11 of us have a mission starting right now to take him out of his spot.
and it's my mission. It's my mission to repeat because it's a fact that I don't know if most people know this. The league started in '07, so I went back and together a list of everyone who has won a championship. Do you know that with this most recent win, I am tied with Junction Boys, and he been gone for 5 years?
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
Junction Boys, he used to do his thing. So
I'm
no
tied.
doubt.
I'm tied with four, so I got to win at least one more, so I can outright hold the title of most championships in the league.
Well, I don't want that to be next year because I'm still looking for title number one in this league. So
You
may
you
the
induce you induce both.
may the best team win.
You know.
All right. Well, it's been a great season. So we will be signing off until next fall when we start our season off with reviewing the draft and making our week one predictions. Until next time, friends, have a great off season.